Yo everyone, it's Feign, and today we're going to talk about Tougen Anki, a manga that's rising in popularity in Japan, and I think it's going to be hitting the mainstream very soon in the West. And I have very mixed feelings about this manga. It kind of feels like, you know how they release a new Call of Duty every year, and then you buy it and you play it and you're like, wow, this is the same as every other single Call of Duty. And then you realize that it's pretty bad. But even so, you keep playing because it's still kind of fun. That's the best way I can describe Tougen Anki. It's something that's pretty generic and flawed, at least at the beginning of the manga, but now we're getting into it a bit, I can feel it really coming into itself. It feels like the author is improving with each chapter, so I thought it was time to tell you guys about it and talk about it. So I'm going to give you a quick synopsis, then probably talk about the bad stuff, and then get into the good stuff. Tougen Anki really is the most shonen plot you can get. It follows a boy called Shiki. He's your typical delinquent and he's got demon blood inside him, and obviously he hasn't known this for the whole of his childhood, and then some random dude rocks up at his house and kills his dad. Then he's like, yo, you're a demon by the way, son, good luck. And then we're just thrust into the typical shonen plotline. He's a kid who has some special underlying powers he doesn't know about, and then he gets this mentor who's going to train him up, and he goes to a school especially for demons and has to do a training arc and an exam arc, yada yada. So yeah, a generic shonen beginning, and you're also probably going to notice a lot of problems in the early chapters of this manga. Pacing at the beginning is just way too fast. The chapters are flying by and there's a lot of exposition through dialogue explaining to you the abilities and shit like that, and it's pretty boring. And the characters at the beginning feel very one note and one dimensional, and that's linked to the pacing. It's not taking any time to flesh the people out, it's just fucking throwing you into the deep end. You're also going to notice that this guy, the author, has just grabbed every ability from recent shonen and went fuck it, they're all going in. You're probably going to start reading and be like, wow, this is exactly like Denji from Chainsaw Man, or this is exactly like Domains from Jujutsu Kaisen, or this is exactly like this from Soul Eater or something else. It feels like a bit of a mashup of random stuff, but as we get further into the story, I have to admit the power system actually becomes one of the more interesting things, especially when we start getting introduced to the villains and stuff like that. And my final nitpick is this guy also has an obsession with huge tits. I'm not even joking, every damn female character looks like they're gonna need a fucking chiropractor at 30 from carrying all that fucking weight. He's given like every character massive boobs. I know that's probably a weird thing to complain about, but I had to throw it in there. So now the bad stuff's out of the way, let's get on to the good stuff. So jumping back to the story a bit, basically society is comprised of three groups: humans, demons, and demon hunters, which are actually their own special race. And there's an interesting critique on society, because normally, you know, it's like humans good, demons bad. But here, the humans are pretty terrible people, and it seems like they're just persecuting the demons as an excuse to be pieces of shit, and they're doing it under the guise that these demons can be perceived as dangerous to society. And so these demon hunters have the power to control bacteria, while the demons can control their blood, and this power system is very versatile right now, which makes it pretty interesting. And like I said, it does feel at the beginning like they've robbed a load of different abilities from other shonen, but the further you get into it, you can really start to appreciate it a bit more, and it starts to explain in depth some of the lore surrounding Shiki and the other abilities that you can gain and how to control your abilities. It's actually very cool. And this power of controlling blood and controlling bacteria, it's used in a pretty harsh way. There's some very dark themes, and I know being dark doesn't immediately make something good, but I have to admit it doesn't feel forced. It feels like suits the world very well. The world is crazy and it keeps it that way. And the antagonists we've seen so far I'm on about chapter 40, they are evil, they are super evil, and I'm really liking the villains right now, and I'm interested to see how they're going to take it further throughout the rest of the story. Now, something you may not like but I like is seeing our characters or our protagonists taking L's. I like seeing them get bashed up a bit and have to suffer a bit before they get a victory, and I get that isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it is mine though. And at the moment our guys are getting shit on pretty much, and I like that because it isn't immediately setting them up as overpowered and having tons of plot armor, although the main character does surpass his limits about 6 times in one fucking chapter at one point, but that's fine. For the most part, I'm really enjoying the way the story is heading. It's definitely improved a lot from the first 5 to 10 chapters, and this story with the demon hunters versus the demons, it focuses on both sides, and I like the fact it's developing both of them up, and it's kind of like Tokyo Ghoul, you know, there's a war going on, nobody really wants it, and each have their own reasons for it, but they have no other choice but to fight each other. And this is good because it means it leaves a lot of different ways that the plot can go from here. But enough about the story and stuff like that, let's talk about the art, because the art is absolutely spectacular. I mean, just look at it. It's very pretty, if slightly inconsistent at times, and in particular the character designs are just on point. All All of their abilities look super good, especially the gun that Shiki gets to control out of his arm. But as well as that, if you like drip or fashion in your manga or anime, like if you're a Bleach fan or something like that, these characters got that, man. They're looking fine, they're looking super fire. You'll definitely find some of that here. And this series has really grown on me since I started reading it. It feels like a guilty pleasure, but sometimes it's okay to just read stuff for fun. It doesn't have to be the best thing in the world, it doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be entertaining, and that's the best way I can describe it. Comment below if you're going to give it a try, or if you have given it a try, what you think about it. Subscribe if you enjoyed, like if you liked, drink some water, and take it easy. Peace.